Hello everyone, my name is RagingRaptor, your residential sick Swiss dinosaur here, and I welcome you to a preview video about the new Yoh tanks. And today we have the premium tank called the M-IV-Yoh. And well, it does have the new mechanic. It is what it is. It has 360 alpha, it's a 105mm gun, has decent mobility, and just let's have a look at it compared to all or three other competitors. One of which being the Renegade, which is arguably at the moment one of the best tier A heavy tanks for the American tech tree. Then we have the E75TS, which also shares a 360 alpha gun, and the T-34, which at the moment is, in my opinion, a decent alternative. It is not obviously going to be overpowered, but I genuinely enjoyed playing it when I was free marking it. So yeah, with its 360 alpha gun and an 11.3 second reload time, we get a slap dab DPM of 1911, which is exactly the same what the E75TS has. So yeah, it is basically the exact same DPM as the E75TS. Armor penetration wise, however, here we start to have some issues. The penetration rates are not that good, as you can see. 218 versus 226 and 227, or even 248. Even though the T-34 doesn't really count. And the premium rounds are not that good either. Those are APCR rounds, 247mm of penetration. Kind of sucks too. Especially as far as I know, the Renegade actually does have a little bit more penetration on its premium round, but I'm actually not sure, so I would need to look this up in a hot second. And yes, it has 255. It is not a lot more, but it's still a decent chunk more, which allows you to have ever so slightly a little edge above the competition. Yeah, DPM wise, it's nothing spectacular, but that is fine because a lot of people do agree on that the Renegade has very, very, very good DPM. Shell velocity, sadly, we didn't got from Wargaming, so we have to take what we have. So, accuracies. 0.4, that is not good. It's simply not good. As you can see, it is the worst of the bunch. Even the T-34 is the best at the moment with 0.35, and 0.38 is also a little bit better. Hull accuracy 0.17, not that good, but it is okay, as you can see, compared to the E75TS and the T-34. The Renegade is a little bit better. However, the Renegade is actually a little bit more inaccurate when it just comes to turret movement. The thing is, though, usually you are moving your hull a little bit more because you want to drive forward backwards and wiggle around rather than moving your turret left and right. Excuse me. Again, I'm a little bit sick. It's not corona. I did a PCR test. I'm fine. It's just a common cold, which is good. But yeah, accuracy wise, it is kind of weird. It gives and it takes. Yes, it is not as accurate on the move as the Renegade. Yes, it has the same aim time as the Renegade, but it is more accurate during turret traverse. But then again, usually a better hull accuracy is, in my opinion, a little bit more important than a turret accuracy. So, I don't know, like, it is most likely going to behave fairly similar, but it could be a little bit, it is going to be a little bit worse than what the Renegade has to offer. It does have 10 degrees of gun depression with its oscillating turret, which is fairly nice. So yeah, we can look forward to that. The mobility is once again a little bit give, a little bit take. It is 42 kph top speed, 14 kph in reverse, and 18.1 horsepower per ton ratio. That is pretty decent. We have 41 degrees per second hull traverse and 45 degrees per second turret traverse, which is also pretty decent. If we compare to the competition, the Renegade is going to be the king right here of the American tanks, and the E75 is going to get the take of all because it has a very good engine. It has decent HP per ton ratio, and it has the best top speed and reverse speed combination. The thing is, though, the M-IV-Yoh will have the best HP per ton ratio, meaning that if you go on maps like Coast, Serene Coast and Himmelsdorf, you want to go into the hill or into the shootout, the M-IV-Yoh will be the quickest there because it is as quick to go up there. Or Malinovka, for example, is also very, very prominent to go onto the hill with a heavy tank. So that is actually pretty decent. Obviously, with the field modifications, you should be able to give this tank also a turbocharger, which gives it 47 kph top speed and 17 kph in reverse. But please, obviously, don't forget the Renegade could do the same, and then he would have 50 kph top speed and 20 kph in reverse, which basically makes it a medium tank. The terrain resistances are carbon copies of what the Renegade has. They are not good. To say the least. Well, especially look at the E75, for example. The E75 1.1, 1.2, 2.2 versus 1.4, 1.7, and 3.4. However, I said it quickly, 41 degrees per second hull traverse. That's very good. That's really, really good, actually. Like, it allows you to turn your hull rather quickly to get into cover. Just keep in mind that this is basically around almost, no, not almost, but it's more than 80% more than what an E75 TS has. It's very, very, very good. Like, it's really good. It will help you to just turn your tool around and just drive away. Because sometimes you usually, for example, in a VZ55 during my ranked season or my ranked struggles, the VZ55 drives solid backwards. I think it's around 18 kph, which is okay. You can live with that. It works. But you can't really turn your hull around. Not only are you quite a long tank, but you also have a very bad hull traverse speed, especially with one of the field modifications. But this tank, on the other hand, will be very, very quick when it comes to turning around in situations. However, it also looks rather long. To the survivability, and here we don't really have anything special. 1500 hit points, 177 millimeters of frontal armor on the hull, and 279 on the turret, and 380 meters of fuel range. On paper, it has the best armor, except for the T-34 having it a little bit better, by 0.4 millimeters. The hit points are all the same, and the fuel range, yes, the Renegade is a little bit better there. Obviously, we do not have yet any of those tanks' armor models, even in World of Tanks splits, and most likely they're subject to change anyway. What Wargaming said already is that this shield, this outer shell of the turret, counts as part of the armor model, like it does with the Kampfpanzer 07 RH. Meaning that if somebody hits right up here, as you can see the little hand, right up here, and it doesn't hit anything behind it, it still counts as a damaging shot. Which is a little bit wonky, a little bit weird, but it also does kind of make sense, because if you imagine that this would be like 280 millimeters of armor and behind we have like an additional 40, you would have effective 320 millimeters of armor at the rate. Yes, you have a cupola, yes, it's fairly big, yes, you have a weak spot around here, and yes, you have a weak spot here, and maybe even one here if you want to side scrape, but yeah, it would be a little bit too much. 280 armor does sound a lot, but then again, don't forget, you have the weak spot down here and you have a weak spot up here, and the weak spot is fairly big. It is not as big as the Renegade's one, and it's not as small as the one of the T-34, but it's still sizable enough that you will notice it. Whole armor, it's tough to say, except for this will be a weak spot most likely, but let's talk real quickly about this. I want to do a separate video about this because it's a little bit World of gimmicky. So keep an eye out for that video. It should be coming soon, depending how I'm feeling and how lazy I am. But this was a thing. Seriously, this was a thing. Like, they did have those tracks. I'm really quickly just getting you this page right here, so you can see with me. This was an article made by the Chieftain in 2013. Keep in mind, 2013. 8 years ago. I think that's even 1 year after I've decided to start playing World of Tanks. And those tanks all had gun shields. They had a special ammunition grab system, which is very weird, it looks like. But all of those tanks, those Yoh company, like, main feature was also to have those auxiliary weaponry, so they could shoot from different positions. And this. You might say, yeah, wargaming, and it's a gimmick. But it existed. Like, it was genuinely one of those, how should we say, features of the Yoh company to say, you know what? United States of America, you need a tank which has rubberized racks in the back, so if you go into a landmine, you can still drive. That actually was a thing. So I understand, like, I don't like the gimmicky, I don't like that those are all mock-ups, but it actually was a proper design proposal. But yeah, more about that in a separate video. Let's finish up the M-IV-Yoh. This is the mock-up of it. It looks a little bit differently. And yeah, the tank in general, I would say, looks alright. Like, there's no feature where I have to say, boy, it's incredibly overpowered, or boy, it's incredible shit. Like, it is an average, good, heavy tank. It has its weak spots, it has a decent gun, it has decent DPM, it has decent mobility. It's like what America used to be. Decent at everything. Like, what's it called in English? Guys, my brain is melting at this point. The Check-of-all traits, there we go. Just with this new mechanic, it means that you cannot detract this tank anymore. Never. Never ever. Because you usually will never speak with the back wheel. Never. You will always peek with the frontal road wheel, which could then get destroyed. Except if you're trying to side scrape, which with this tank will be a little bit tough because you have this right here. But if you do side scraping, you will get hit back here and you will lose both of your tracks, making you immobile. Also, with this mechanic, one more thing. It leads to the question, what about the AE Phase 1? What about Lorraine? The Lorraine was made that it can drive without its tracks. That's why it has rubberized wheels. What about the BT7? Or the BT2, I think. They also had Kevlar-made road wheels, which allowed them to still drive. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, this is the M-IV-Yoh. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this tank, about this tree. Don't forget to subscribe to be up to date to my Wall of Gimmick video, which will come soon, TM, which I still have to do. And yeah, meanwhile I will drink some more tea and try to not be sick anymore. Cheers and good luck on the battlefield.